All right, everyone. Welcome to the People Power Challenge Orientation webinar. We'll get started now. This is the first of 4 sessions that will be held throughout the challenge, and the webinars are worth 5 points each, so be sure that someone from your company attends. The basic format of most webinars will be 1, an educational component on the challenge or on employee engagement, and 2, they will provide an opportunity to share your challenges and your successes and learn from your peers. I know we are in a friendly competition here, but at the end of the day, we all want to engage our employees, and sharing knowledge will accelerate that. All webinars will be recorded and will be made available for viewing and sharing with your colleagues after the webinar. And all of your lines have been muted. If you have questions, please enter them into the chat function, and we will get to all of your questions at the end of the webinar. Okay, so first I'd like to have all of the competitors get a chance to get to know each other. We're very fortunate to have 11 excellent companies competing this year, representing 16 teams and over 9,000 employees now. That's a lot of human capital that can be engaged to drive sustainability forward. You can see your fellow competitors' logos up there on the screen. So I'm going to call on each company, and I'd like each organization to tell us a little bit about yourself, including your name and any other colleagues that might be on the line, why your organization signed on to the People Power Challenge, what you're hoping to get out of the challenge, and a funny, interesting thing that most people don't know about you. So I'm going to go first. My name is Jennifer Taves, and I have my colleague Alexandra Papioconomou on the line with me. She'll be your contact if I'm not available with the People Power Challenge. And Partners in Project Green decided to create the People Power Challenge because we kept on talking to businesses who were telling us that the #1 barrier they had to getting sustainability projects and initiatives off the ground was employee engagement, and we really wanted to help them with that. And I'm hoping that this is the best challenge yet, and that every single employee at each and every one of your facilities is engaged in the program. And a funny or interesting thing that most people don't know about me is that I was actually born in a car. My mom says I've been in a rush since birth. So that's my funny thing. So now I'm going to unmute your line, so please keep that in mind if you are in a loud place or you to try to keep the noise around you to somewhat minimum. And I'm going to call on you in a completely random order. So I'm going to just unmute you all now. And I'm going to start with Canadian Tire. So Erin, maybe you can introduce yourself? Or you'll have to self-mute yourself, Erin. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Okay, go ahead.
My name's Erin Murray. I'm here on behalf of Canadian Tire. We joined Partners in Project Green to help motivate our employee base. We have a huge amount of employees between all our distribution centers, and we're just trying to engage them in our company's sustainability efforts. Something interesting about me. Not everyone knows that I have just recently graduated from my college program, and I'm looking forward to working with Canadian Tire and Partners in Project Green.
Okay, thank you, Erin, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, next we're going to have City of Mississauga. Mary?
Hi, I'm Mary Bracken. I am in the Environment Division at the City of Mississauga. We're a relatively new division. And we have just started a Green Leaders program in our Civic Center. So overall at City of Mississauga, we have over 7,000 employees. That's full-time, part-time, permanent, temporary. But what we wanted to do is we wanted to start as a pilot program in our largest facility, which is the Civic Center. We have almost 1,000 people there. We wanted to start a Green Leaders program. So it was quite fortuitous when we discovered that there was also the People Power Challenge, and it works very well together. So I'm actually really excited to be able to join forces with People Power Challenge, because I think it'll really take off here, because we've already got a bit of a base going with the Green Leaders program, and our plan is to roll it out all across the city, all across the corporation. So that'll be a heck of a lot of people that could be competing in this challenge, but we will do that incrementally over the next couple of years. And I'm just racking my brains trying to figure out something amusing to talk about. But I can't. I just can't right now. And maybe that's a funny thing in itself.
Okay, no pressure, Mary, no pressure.
But I can tell you kind of who I am. I'm actually a planner, and I was an environmental planner at the Conservation Authority, both at TRCA and at Credit Valley Conservation for almost 20 years. And then I came to be the environmental planner at the City of Mississauga, and then joined the environment group shortly after it got formed. So I'm really excited to be focusing just on environment these days.
Okay, thank you, Mary. All right, next up we'll have someone from Bentall Kennedy.
All right, it's Linda Sketchley calling on behalf of Bentall Kennedy. Bentall Kennedy is looking to probably do this in a twofold sense. I think we're looking to obviously engage our own people on behalf of, or in sustainability, and get people involved in sustainable challenges. So we're going to be looking at engaging the people at Carlson Court. And then we're also looking as a landlord to try and promote sustainability and get people involved in our various office towers throughout the area. What we hope to get out of the challenge, I guess, is to gather some ideas from some of the other colleagues that have been involved in this in the past. And funny thing you might not know about me, I spare time, I ride reining horses.
Oh, that's interesting. Thank you. Okay, let's move to our brand new competitor, Air Canada. Penny, can you share a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Penny Thompson. I work in Air Canada's Environmental Affairs Department, actually in Vancouver, which is very inconvenient for this contest, but as an airline, we can solve that. We signed on to the People Power Challenge because as an environmental team, we haven't had a lot of experience with employee engagement. So this is a really great learning opportunity for us. We're going to take just a narrow slice of our employees in Terminal 1 to participate. Narrow as it is, though, there'll be about 2,800 people participating, those are the employees that we'll try and engage around probably primarily waste management projects, but we can sort of see how that evolves. Yeah, so we're just hoping to get experience from this challenge. You know, it's a very, very large employee base at Air Canada, working in various different capacities. So, you know, it's a very diverse group. So we see this as a great opportunity to start small and hopefully, you know, roll it out based on experience year over year. So, yeah, we're very excited about it. A funny or interesting thing, I used to work as a flight attendant when I was in university, and I used to badger my now boss at Environmental Affairs about recycling all the time, leaving her all kinds of messages. And I served her on the plane one day, and she recognized my voice and said, "Oh my God, you're that woman who keeps badgering me." So anyway, it's nice to come full circle and be part of this now. So very excited.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Penny. Okay, how about Rockwell Automation? Vicki, I see you're on the line. Oh, you'll just need to unmute yourself, Vicki. Okay, we'll come back to Vicki. We'll move over to the MOE. Eva, do you want to share a few things about the MOE?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Okay, my name is Eva Musa. I work at the Ministry of Environment. There should be a few people on the call. I think we're having a little bit of trouble with GoToMeeting, but hopefully we're going to have a couple of teams. I lead the Greening and Sustainability program here, and we wrapped up a successful campaign that we ran in-house called the Sustain campaign, and it worked on a similar basis of getting participating in teams and then getting points, and we had kind of winners at the end. So we're looking forward to this opportunity to kind of roll out sort of our Sustain campaign version 2.0 and participate with everybody, and really, really excited about this.
Great.
Something interesting about me, I spent a month in the Philippines over the Christmas holidays, and if anyone wants to talk about that, it was a fantastic trip. I think that about covers it. Is that anything else?
Yeah, no, the Philippines sounds great, though. Okay, Vicki, I see that you've unmuted yourself. You want to talk a little bit about Rockwell Automation and your journey here?
Yeah, can you hear me? I just want to check if I actually have a microphone on my laptop.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, good. So I'm Vicki Kostachuk. I'm the Environmental Health and Safety Specialist at Rockwell Automation. Our goal for People Power Challenge is we are looking at employee engagement to improve our waste centers. So this kind of was a good fit at the time. I just returned back from mat leave, so I have a lot of catching up to do, and this kind of just helps us pick up off the ground where I left off.
Okay. Well, welcome back.
Thanks.
Okay. So, Nago, Mark, I see that you're on the line. You want to share a few thoughts?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
My name is Mark O'Connor. I'm in charge of compliance for Kunanago. I have Kevin Martin with me here on my team, and I have a few young employees somewhere around the building in a training room listening in as well, so I won't go into their names and embarrass them too much. We are a global logistics provider. For those of you who don't know, you might see the anchors around 407 and 401. We joined basically to we signed up to increase the employee engagement, and that's a primary factor. We also, what we're hoping to get out of it is, we love competition, and that's a big thing for us. So we're driving the competition and make people better on the front line and things like that. So we selected our head office, and we've selected one of our warehousing operations to participate. Funny thing about me, I'm not very funny. I have 4 kids. That's kind of funny in this day and age. Kevin's very funny, though. He has a motorcycle, he shoots guns, and he bakes a lot.
Oh.
That's funny.
Well, we'll have to bring him, or you'll have to bring baking goods to the next event.
Trust me, he will.
Okay. Okay, and last but not least, I'd like to ask Jordan from GreenGage Mobile, the mobile app provider, to share a little bit about their journey here with the People Power Challenge. Jordan?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Actually,
Awesome.
I'm just going to mute everybody and then unmute you because I think I hear a bit of background noise, so just give me one moment.
Had some conversations with.
Okay,
Sorry.
Go ahead, Jordan. Yeah.
Perfect. So nice to meet all of you. I believe I've had a conversation with a few of you, but my name is Jordan, and I help lead business development at GreenGage Mobile, and we fundamentally help organizations more effectively communicate with their employees using a mobile platform to drive engagement in corporate social responsibility programs. So we're incredibly excited to be working with each of you and partners in Project Green for the People Power Challenge over the next 6 months and really start to demonstrate how we can use a mobile application to really engage your employees in the People Power Challenge and your programs yourself.
Thanks.
And something funny about myself is I have a fear of condiments.
Condiments.
I don't need ketchup or mustard or any of those condiments, and for some reason I've never been able to figure out why. And so that's probably the weirdest thing you've ever heard, but I will leave it at that.
Okay. Thank you, Jordan. And I see that we have Elijah from Velcro here as well. So Elijah, do you want to share a few things about yourself? Or actually, I think you might need to enter the audio pin that I just sent you in order for me to unmute you. Okay. You know what, maybe we'll get back to Elijah at the end of the session. Just certainly want everyone to meet Velcro as well, but we'll just let him get the audio pin set up, and then we'll meet him at the end. So thanks, everyone. I feel like I know every single one of you just a bit better, and hopefully you know me a little bit better now too. And I think that really that knowledge sharing and getting to know each other is going to make this challenge even more fun. So thank you for that. Okay, so now most of you have seen this next slide before, if it can advance. There we go. So most of you have seen this next slide before, so I'm just going to quickly go through it to remind everybody around what goes into the challenge and what you're going to get out of it. So on the left-hand side, you'll see some of the things that Partners in Project Green provides. And of course, there's the mobile app component, which is a large component of the challenge this year. We're very excited about that, and we're going to talk about that in a lot more detail later in the challenge or in the webinar. There are a number of tools that you'll be provided. So if you go to the People Power Challenge webpage, under the tools page, you'll see a number of communications tools like posters and Oh, I see Catherine. I just saw your note. Pardon me, Catherine and Wade. We'll get you to introduce yourselves too. I'll get through this slide and then we'll introduce you. So the tools that you provided are some communication tools like the posters and email templates, as well as some basic general sustainability tools that you can share out with your colleagues. And you can just go back to that page frequently, and I'll be continuously updating it throughout the challenge. There's the online scorecard, and most of you have had an opportunity to see this scorecard, and we'll go through it in a more succinct way later on in the challenge. And then, of course, the coaching aspect, and that's part of what we're doing here today. So today is an orientation webinar, but in the future webinars, we'll dive in a little bit more to different ways to engage your staff and provide a little education and coaching that way. And of course, what you're going to get out of it is certainly engaged employees. You'll also be provided with metrics on your engagement results, so a report at the end of the challenge, as well as ongoing updates to how you're doing with your staff engagement. Certainly large cash prizes. So there are 2 $5,000 cash prizes and 2 $2,500 cash prizes. So you'll certainly be competing for that. And of course, the recognition both for yourselves and for your employees. So I'm just going to take a moment and see if I can I'm going to unmute Catherine from Mississauga Executive Center and ask her to share a little bit about why they decided to join the challenge. Catherine, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So I'm Catherine Grammaticos. I'm on the line with Wade Warner. We're property managers at Colliers at the Mississauga Executive Center. We decided to join in the challenge as a bit of a pilot that we're going to push out to the staff just to see how we can get them engaged into some green thinking as we work towards our LEED recertification and some other initiatives that we've got on the go. And hopefully, if it all works well, we're going to roll this out to our tenants, which we have about 4,500 tenants. A funny or interesting fact about me, you may not know, or you may actually recognize the accent, but I emigrated from the UK about 17 years ago as a young 22-year-old. Wade, I don't know if Wade has a funny fact.
I don't know, maybe a pet peeve. I like hiking the various trails around the city and outside the city. It drives me crazy to find plastic water bottles along the trail. I'll bring a garbage bag with me and collect them as I hike along, and often come out with a big bag of old water bottles.
Well, thank you. On behalf of everybody that uses the trails, thank you. And thanks for sharing the Mississauga Executive Center journey. And I see Elijah's got his pin in, so I'm just going to unmute you, Elijah, from Velcro, and you can share a bit about why you're involved in the challenge.
Hello, everyone. I'm Elijah Tremblay, and I'm with my colleague, Tal Rafilov. So here at Velcro, we're continually looking to improve our sustainability in manufacturing. And we're hoping this challenge to really drive to our employees and engage them in reducing our waste and electricity efficiencies. So something interesting about myself is that I'm currently a student at the University of Waterloo, and I'm occupying a student position here. And that allows for every 4 months a new student to come in and provide fresh perspectives and ideas on green initiatives.
Great. Thanks. I'm just going to mute you. Okay. So jumping back into the webinar, so I want to talk a lot about how to earn points today. So there's really 2 main ways to earn points. One is by mobilizing your employees to leverage your points and generate activity in different areas, and you'll get points through that. And the other is by taking on organizational actions. So I'll just go through these. And again, if you have any questions or comments throughout the webinar, please just put them in the chat, and we'll make sure we get to all of your questions. But under employee actions, there's certainly this idea of submitting suggestions. We want to engage your staff, the people who know a lot about your business, to generate those ideas on how you can make improvements in the target areas that you've chosen to go after. So as most of you have seen, you have a link that you will send out to employees, and you will encourage them to submit suggestions through the online portal. And that's a great way to get points. You can get 1 point per submitted suggestion. Another great way to leverage employee action to generate your points is by having them make pledges for environmental behavior changes throughout the challenge. So that means that you can either tell them, we have these 5 pledges that we would like you to take on throughout the challenge. Pick one, or that can be simply, we're going after waste. So if you'll make a pledge around anything waste related, that'll get you points. Or if you're looking at broad sustainability, you can have your employees make pledges around any sort of sustainability action. So you'll get 1 point per pledge that's taken. And the way that that's done is by you downloading the pledge form and putting them in a public place and having staff fill out those pledges. And then you'll also get 5 points for posting those pledges in a public place. And that public place can look like a post-it board in your cafeteria, or it can be on your intranet site if that's somewhere where staff goes frequently, or it can simply be on the side of your employees' cubicles, whatever works for you, just as long as it's public. The third way to leverage employee action to generate points is to encourage them to download and engage with the mobile app. And we're going to go into how best to use the app and how best to get employees to download the app in the later slides. So I'll just mention that now, and we'll go into it in depth later. On the organizational action side, you'll see that there's also a point generated here for suggestions. So recognizing that it's really important to communicate back to employees what happens with their ideas in order to keep them engaged in your sustainability programs, you will get an additional point for communicating back to the employee what happens with that suggestion. That, again, is managed through the online portal. Most of you have seen how that's done, but again, I'll go through it in a little bit. And so that means that you can get up to 2 points per suggestion. So that's a great way to get more points. You'll also get points for providing resources and different training opportunities. So you get 2 points per resource distributed throughout the challenge. And you also get points for hours spent in employee training. Now that can look like external training, sending 4 employees to a 2-hour external training, so that would get you 8 hours of training. Or it could be internal training. Say you're setting something up on site and you're doing some training to build capacity of your staff to manage waste streams or manage energy, things like that. You can get points for that as well. And then the third bucket is by implementing projects and initiatives. Certainly, it's wonderful if those initiatives and projects come from the employee suggestions, but it's not required that they do. And because 6 months isn't a huge amount of time in order to get projects off the ground, you will get points for projects that are implemented during the 6 months of the challenge, as well as the previous 6 months. So what that looks like is you'll get points for any project that was implemented between October 1, 2013, and the end of the challenge on September 30, 2014. Okay. Last but not least, there are a series of bonus points that you can receive for being part of the challenge. One is by being a Partners in Project Green member, ambassador, or eco-solution provider. A number of you already are, so that's 15 points right there that you've already started the challenge with. You can also get bonus points for having a senior leader announce the challenge to staff, and I know that at least 2 of you have already done so. And all you need to do in order to get those points is simply send me a copy of the email, and I'll enter those points in your scorecard. You can also get bonus points for sending in pictures of People Power Challenge activities. So it's 2 points per picture, but that's 1 picture per initiative. So you can't send in 10 pictures of your pledge board. Just 1 picture of each activity. So that could be your pledge board. It could be a poster that was posted. It could be, implementing a project. It could be anything that's related to the People Power Challenge. You'll also get bonus points for sending in very short case studies. So these would just be short descriptions of things that you undertook throughout the challenge, and then we would post them online and make sure that they were made public. So you would also get a little bit of recognition for doing that. And then throughout the challenge, there will be opportunities for surprise bonus points. So at some point in the challenge, I will be sending out a note saying if you do this within this time frame, you will get this amount of points. And that will happen throughout the challenge and will be on many different things. So that really summarizes all of the different ways that you earn points. And I certainly encourage you to take a little time and look at the scorecard so you can make sure that you're getting all of the points that you're entitled to. And now I would like to go out of the presentation to the online system, and I'm just checking with my webinar expert to make sure that I can do that. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly go to the People Power Challenge website, and I'm going to show you how you log in and how you get started. So first I'll log out. So when you come to the Partners in Project Green website, you click on the tab up here to log in. If you do not have a profile already set up, please contact me and we'll get you going. But you simply click there, you would put in your email, and then you would enter your password, and then you're taken to your company profile. So there are a number of ways that you manage the People Power Challenge aspects from here. You can either go up here and click down here and you can access everything here, or you can access it from the side here. So we can just go to the scorecard. And so this is what the scorecard looks like. And as you know, there are parts of the scorecard that you're responsible for filling out. There's parts of the scorecard that I'm responsible for filling out, and there's parts of the scorecard that are generated by the system itself. So you'll see that everything flagged with green, except for these ones. These should not be flagged with green. I'll have that rectified. Are ones that you're responsible for filling out and for tagging. So that'll give you a good indication of which ones you're supposed to do. And then you can see here there's already points because I'm in my test company now and I've played around with it a little bit. So you can see that because I have 3 suggestions in there, I've earned 3 points that way, and the system created that. And same for the communication back to the employee and for the pledges as well. So you'll see it automatically tallies. If I say yes, I immediately get the 25 points right there. If I say no, those 25 points are taken away. So we'll go back up. So that's the scorecard, and again, I'm not going to go through every single line, but you'll see that there's a number of ways to get points, and we do encourage you to keep your scorecard up to date throughout the challenge, as it will allow you to stay on top of the leaderboard and also make it easier for you at the end of the challenge when you're submitting your final report. It'll be a lot faster if you just do it that way. So like I mentioned, employees can submit suggestions through this feature. So they would basically click on that Submit a Suggestion panel, and they would get a list of all of the companies that are enrolled in the People Power Challenge. They would simply select the company that they're a part of, fill out the information, and hit Submit. And then when you, as an administrator of the challenge, were going in to look at the suggestions, you would hit on your suggestions, you would get a list of all of the ones that you had listed, and then you would communicate what happened with that. So you would just track that the status had been communicated or it had been not communicated, and you could track what was happening with the challenge, with that suggestion. Okay. The pledges are a bit different. So as I mentioned, you would download the pledge form, and that can be accessed through the tools. So it's just right there. You would download the pledge form, print out a bunch of copies, and leave them in a public place. And then you, as the administrator, would need to enter them into the system. So the way that you do that is you simply add a pledge. You would put your pledge in. You would put the employee name in and hit pledge. Okay, so that's the way that's done. And then one thing I didn't mention, but I think most of you are aware of, is there's this frequently asked questions page. Should you have any questions at any time, please do not hesitate to reach out to myself, or if you have any questions about the app, Jordan is more than happy to take them. But this is a good place to start as well. So there's some information here. If you have the question, so does somebody else. So if you don't find it here, and you reach out to me, I'll just add it in so that can be found by somebody else the next time they need it. I mentioned the leaderboard. So you'll see that nobody has really any points right now, but as soon as people start listing up their points and getting all the tracking done, this will start populating, and you'll be able to see where you are in the leaderboard. Please note that I will be reserving some of the points, so you won't know exactly where you are throughout the challenge, and then I'll be adding them in at different times just to keep things a little bit interesting and exciting. Okay, so that is the online portal. If you have any questions at all, please do not hesitate to contact me directly, or if you have questions right now, please simply put them in the chat, and we'll go over them together at the end. Okay. So moving now to the GreenGage mobile app. Most of you have seen this slide and hopefully have had a little bit of an opportunity to see what the app looks like. But you'll know by now that there's two types of messages that you send out through the app, one being an educational message, just a little bit of a note about something interesting that's happening, or you'll send out a question message. Now, the question messages are really where the money's at for the employees, because this is how they generate points. There are no points given for the education messages. So this here, you can see an example of a question point. And then what happens is they get the message, they click on what their response is, they go to the second image here, and they would get a little bit of an educational tip after seeing that, and then they would be taken to their points page. So they'll be able to immediately see and track their points as they go throughout the challenge, and then they'll be able to see the average points that they have in comparison to the other people in the company. And again, at the end, you'll see the chat function. So this is something that will drive people to use throughout the challenge, and it's just a way for them to communicate back and forth with each other and for you to communicate with them as well. So I'd like to talk a little bit about the onboarding and how the messages are going to work for the very first part of the challenge as we work to get everybody up to speed and make sure that everybody's on a level playing field and ready to get started. So you would have seen this in the email I sent out yesterday, but the process is that you'll send me your completed onboarding document, and I do have most of your onboarding documents. I'll follow up with the ones that are outstanding, but that's the very first step. I'll pass those along to GreenGage. They'll take a quick look, and then they'll reach out to you to set up a conversation. And I know that most of you have received those emails to set up a time to have that conversation with GreenGage, just to make sure that you have everything in place that you need to have in place and to really get the green light to go ahead and get started. And then as soon as you have that conversation with GreenGage, we'll then send you those template emails and the template poster to help you communicate the app to your staff. Okay. And then on the messages side, just to make sure, again, that everybody has ample opportunity to create a content calendar that they're happy with and that they feel will drive their program forward, what we're going to do is from April 14 to May 1, every single competitor will receive the same messaging. It's basically GreenGage tutorial messaging. This is how you use the app, all of that kind of stuff, just so that there is content being delivered out for users that have downloaded the app. And then as of May 1, we'll reset all your points to 0. So it's really May 1 where the real value from using the app will come out. So that gives you a lot of time to set your content calendar, to really encourage those downloads and get lots of people downloading the app. And then from May 1 to May 21, for the first 3 weeks, we'll just really heavily weight the content with Partners in Project Green and People Power Challenge messaging. That way you'll have an opportunity to get your content calendar up and running. And then as of May 21, the majority of the content will be coming from you. Of course, as I've mentioned to all of you, we have a lot of canned content, excellent content from GreenGage that can be used as well, so you're not required to create tons and tons of messages. And we're looking at sending about 2 or 3 messages a week, so it's not too overbearing. But I'm happy to talk with any of you about any questions. So I see that we have a question from Vicki saying, can employees submit suggestions via the computer on GreenGage versus the app? No, the app is an entirely mobile platform. So we do understand that maybe not everybody wants to use their mobile phone or get involved in the app, and that's okay. They can get involved by submitting suggestions or making pledges. Okay. So we have a few ideas here on how to encourage your staff to download the app. And I'll maybe unmute Jordan in a moment and he can give his 2 cents here because he's got a lot of experience with this, of course. But the best way by far is by sending out that company-wide email with download instructions. If it's really clear right there for them, they're much more likely to do it. So just not making it so they have to search out information. It's right there at their fingertips. So I encourage you to send out that company-wide email. Of course, placing posters is an effective tool as well, and you can get really creative with where you put them. So you can put them, bathroom stalls are a good place, or in cafeterias or lockers, anywhere that you have a high traffic area. I personally think that having, if you're having a town hall meeting or a staff meeting coming up, just having your employees take out their phone and immediately download it during that meeting, that's a pretty excellent way to make sure that people download it. So that might be an opportunity for those of you that have those kind of town halls or staff meetings coming up. And then certainly mobilizing your green team members to encourage signups. Word of mouth, one-on-one conversations are a really great way to do this. So if you've got those local champions, use them. So I'm just going to unmute Jordan here and see if he's got any ideas that I didn't mention. Jordan, do you have any ideas?
Sure. So what I would say is typically with most of the launches that we do, we'll kind of identify what channels an organization currently uses to communicate with their employees and then just integrate the messaging into those channels. So I think, Jen, you've kind of covered most of them here in terms of the email is absolutely key. We find when employees are able to just simply open up the email on their smartphone, the download process is very, very, very simple. It's just a matter of ensuring that employees know about it. So the email we find is the most effective driver. And if you can pair that up with a town hall or some sort of in-person meeting, adding that additional touch point really does help increase the amount of downloads. So we're happy to explore conversations with each of you individually in terms of if you have any other channels that you currently use to communicate with employees, and then we can work to get you any materials for those channels.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jordan. Okay, and I just want to now talk a little bit about how you can use the app. This is definitely a wonderful communication tool. It's a new avenue, a new touch point with your employees, and there's lots of different ways to use it. And you can definitely think outside the box about how you want to leverage this component of the challenge. So certainly, it's a great way to just communicate things out to your staff. Just letting them know exactly what you're doing in your environmental target areas, especially if you have a large organization. Not everybody might be in touch with exactly what you're doing. So it's a great way to make sure that everyone really is clear on all of the wonderful actions that your organization is taking. It's certainly useful if you want to drive employees to attend your training events. So this could be a lunch and learn, it could be an internal training opportunity, it could be external training opportunities that arise, so you can use it as a communication tool to drive attendance at events. You can certainly use it to push out your environmental resources to employees. And again, remember, for each resource you distribute, you get 2 points. So this is another tool for you to get those resources in the hands of your employees. Certainly, it can also assist you in driving suggestions and pledges at your organization. That's a great way to get points, and you can kind of double dip a little bit there because you can get points for having people interact with your message on the app, and then you're driving them to get suggestions. So it's a great way to make sure that you're covering all your bases. You can certainly use it to encourage people to submit pictures, which will help you get bonus points. And then one of the really interesting things that I think this tool can be used for is to pull your staff on a number of different things, either on activities that they might be interested in participating in, certain environmental areas or projects that they think might be useful to the organization that would get behind and support, or find out what incentivizes them. You can find out whether or not it would be a lunch party or a tree planting, or do they want gift cards? Find ways to really tap into what will drive them to move your sustainability agenda forward. And again, Jordan, I'll just ask if you've got any further points on how they can leverage the mobile app to drive participation.
Yeah, I'd say the three, and you've kind of covered them off, and I'll just very simply bucket them. So the 3 ways that the app currently communicates with individuals is the first is an education, so you can deliver any type of communication that's intended to drive some sort of educational message with your employees. So it's simply replacing what you may send out through a poster or an email, but funneling it through the app. The second is the action-oriented. So when Jennifer, you had suggested lunch and learns, you can very simply, if you have an event happening at your company, send out a message to your employees through the application that says this is happening tomorrow. Click here to sign up or to say that you are coming. And then the third is the polling. So if you have any interest in understanding current engagement in your programs, it's very simple for you to send a message out and say, did you participate in this program last year? And then you can start to be able to get baseline information around either employees' historical engagement in your programs or start to poll them to understand what type of things and programs are actually meaningful to them to help you guys then design your program. So those are kind of the three buckets of types of content. But again, happy to explore any of those conversations directly with you guys in kind of a separate follow-up conversation.
Thank you, Jordan. And I know that many of you are working on your app content currently, and I will certainly be following up with each one of you to make sure that we're getting that content and getting it uploaded. So I've communicated this out to most of you, but just as a reminder, the way that it works is I will be the administrator for your company's program or for your company's messages. The only people that will see your messages are people that are registered through your company, so it is specific to the company in question, and it is very flexible. So if we set up a great content calendar and then halfway through you're like, oh, you know what, we just launched this great program and I want to make sure that it's communicated out through the app, you know, all you need to do is get in touch with me and we'll adjust those messages that are being sent out. So it is rather flexible, but the more we can get set up at the beginning, the easier it will be. So just a reminder to continue to work on your mobile app content calendars. You all have the templates, and I'll be following up with you over the next few weeks to make sure that that's happening. Okay, so we can move to questions. You'll see that I've put some contact information up here. All of you have my contact information, but you'll see Jordan's email here as well, and it was included in the email that I sent out yesterday. So should you have any questions about the technical aspects or how best to leverage mobile app content or anything like that, you can go directly to Jordan. So do we have any questions from the audience? Okay. Well, if nobody has any questions, at the moment, we can certainly just, you know, if you have want to follow up with me later, or if you want to follow up with Jordan later to ask any questions and to, you know, make sure that you've got all of the information that you need in order to effectively deliver the People Power Challenge and get all of those wonderful things that we talked about at the beginning, you know, the engaged employees and certainly those large cash prizes out of the challenge. You know, feel free to contact me. I am available whenever you need me. And as I mentioned, we will record, or this webinar has been recorded, and we will make it available to you so you can have it for a reference, and so you can also share it out to any of your colleagues that might be interested. Okay, so if that's all, oh, I see one point or one question that came through. What is the maximum amount of points using the app in employee engagement? There is no maximum, so that might be interesting. I did think of that. We might have points categories with extremely high winners, but that's okay. What's going to happen is I will go into the app on a monthly basis, and I will determine how many points you generated through that month, and then I will add them to your scorecard. So there's no limit on the number of points that you can earn that way. Okay, so if that's the only question, I'll say thank you very much for attending this first webinar. Each one of your organizations that attended earned 5 points today, so congratulations on that. Again, if you have any questions, you know where to reach us. And other than that, have a wonderful afternoon. Okay. Thanks, everyone.